Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's me, Heather, your neighborhood sexuality and intimacy coach, and I am here talking to you guys about Married at First Sight. I wanted to talk a little bit about Jose. The thing about it is, Married at First Sight is like 2 hours long. So if you're watching it and you do a review, your reviews end up being like super long. But this in particular, I felt like I just I couldn't wait on the review crew. I wanted to go ahead and just kind of talk about it because I felt like it is something that we need to discuss in relationships when it comes to conflict, when it comes to people having unrealistic expectations, when it comes to people who have controlling type behaviors. And when you are seeing those things and you're not really, you haven't decided to act on those things. And what I mean by act on it, meaning that you haven't held that person accountable for the type of behavior they're exhibiting or called it out so that they could do something about it. So I wanted to talk about this. This last episode was called Locked Out. As we saw, the couples are, kind of settling into married life, being in their apartments. They're doing all these different things. They're hanging out. What I do like about this grouping of people, with the exception of Michaela, because I don't know where she is from time to time, they all tend to hang out and lean on each other when it comes to relationship things. Now, what I also find interesting is that they're introspective enough or observant enough that they can talk to each other about their issues, and I feel like some of them can't see what's going on in their own relationship, but they're at least able to impart their own information to each other about what they see in the other relationship. So I can appreciate that. And when I'm looking at, like all these different couplings and everything, now one thing about it, I do not care for, I will say, this season, I really don't care for any of I was about to say any of the men, but I kind of don't care for the women either. Um, I will say there is a hierarchy of who I don't like versus who I do like this season. I don't care. I'm getting to where Zachary done got on my nerves. Um, Ryan seems like he's one of those types of people that he's just tone deaf when it comes to a lot of things. And he's looking for something that's not necessarily realistic as well. He keeps talking about butterflies and, all these types of things. And what people don't understand is that when you're in relationships, especially when you're trying to grow relationships, you may not see the butterflies. And plus, y'all are old. Y'all are old. So sometimes when you're talking about looking at people trying to get a specific feeling or a spark. Some of those things have to be created. Some of those things have to be worked on, or there has to be some common ground you have to find within their relationship. And also, you signed on to marry a stranger, so you may not get initial sparks because they met you with someone that they felt was a good fit for whatever reason, and not necessarily what you see as a physical type. And that's what a lot of times Ryan is stuck on, is that physical type thing. Well, she's not really my type, blah blah blah. So anyway, because yeah, I just have issues with Ryan about that. And then also, Ryan isn't the best looking guy in the room, but he's also expecting to get the best looking woman. And I think that's just something that I don't think that's realistic. I think that, when you get good looking people together, a lot of times both of them are good looking, or when you're, probably a solid six, maybe. Okay, 5. And you're expecting a 10, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So that's interesting about Ryan. Johnny and Bao are uh, Johnny nitpicks. And that's a problem that I have with Johnny, because he nitpicks every single thing about Bao. If she says something, then he needs to ponder it. He needs to think about it. You know, he's always talking about, it makes him think about, their relationship, or, in other words, she can't do anything right or wrong, because if she does something right, then he's going to wonder, why is she doing it the right way? If she does something wrong, he's going to wonder why. He's going to hold that against her forever. So that's a problem as well. Let me go back. Let me circle back to little Zach here. Zach is a grudge holder, and he's a mama's boy, and he's 27. And so, while I think Michaela needs a whole lot of counseling, Zach is never going to allow her to make the changes that she strives to make in order to change things within their relationships. He's going to always find something. Again, he's a nitpicker. All of these guys are nitpicky this year, and I don't like it. I don't like the nitpicking. Um, who else have I not talked about? Gil. Gil has such a complex about money that he believes, this is what I think. I believe he knows how good or bad, and I think bad, he is with money, that he thinks that everyone else is like that, which is why he constantly picks at Mirla for her fashion choices, for her shopping and everything. Mirla makes her own money. She's been doing this for a long time before she met him. And I find that and I'm going to keep saying this, I don't like the way that the experts and everyone else are trying to tell Mirla that she has to stop spending the way that she does because she's married. Well, Mirla makes her own money, and she's been able to handle and maintain the lifestyle she's created for herself. There's a difference. If she said she wanted him to pay for her lifestyle, then definitely, girl, cut back on the spending or whatever. But what she said is she wanted to incorporate her spouse into the type of lifestyle that she has. And I feel like a lot of times when it comes to women, people want women to be strong and independent and do things on their own, don't depend on the man for this and that. And the moment they do that, then they go, well, why are you doing this? You should get permission. She doesn't need permission. She been grown. She been grown. I don't like where that's going. I ain't gonna say I like Mirla either. She is very, very picky about some weird things. Things like, I don't want to put on a blindfold because of my lashes. Girl, take them lashes off and stuff. Yeah, lashes ain't that serious. I mean, I keep lash strips all the time. It's gonna be all right. Um, some of the things that she whines about, she can do better on. I can agree to that. But some of the major fundamental things when it comes to money, she saves money. She said that she doesn't carry debt. Um, I don't see what the problem is with the finance thing. The only thing that I see is that Gil may be a little bit intimidated by the amount of money she makes, which we don't know. But I'm going to just go out on a limb and say she makes maybe, 2 to 3 times more, uh, just based off of the conversations they've had and based off of what she's going and shopping for and what she's done. And she's been in that career for a minute. So I can imagine that she makes quite a bit more, significantly more than he does. And that's his major issue, is that he knows at the pace that he's at right now, he's not going to be able to catch up to her. And for a lot of men, they do not like it when women make more than it, especially their woman makes more than they do. And I feel like that's also rooted in, a little bit of patriarchy, a little bit of control. So or things like that. But this Jose, let me tell you, Jose has rubbed me wrong from day one. I've tried to see it. I absolutely did. But I've also had this thing in the back of my mind that Jose is a control freak. Jose don't want nothing to happen unless Jose say so. When he starts talking about, the thing that was off-putting for me from day one was him talking about his credit score and talking about, all these houses that he had. And it wasn't in a way like how Mirla talks about, I enjoy shopping and everything. His thing is condescending, like, well, don't you want to be like me? And I didn't like that, especially the conversations when they had about, merging their lifestyles and their households together. Some of the things that he kept talking about was, we're gonna have to get you together. Or he was dashing dreams, like when Rachel first started talking about traveling, he's already talking about, you spending too much money on traveling and da, 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 da. But she said, those are things she likes to enjoy. Some people like things, some people like experiences, and those are the things that you have to learn how to respect within relationships. Now, let's talk about Jose and his grudge holding when Rachel was saying when they were out on the boat or whatever, and she, said that, hey, she's, cheated in a relationship. I knew then there was going to be an issue, because the first thing he said was, I married a cheater. And even in jest, to me, those are not words that you use with a spouse, especially a spouse you're just getting to know. The other thing is, if you notice throughout their relationship from that part, it seems like he's been holding that in the back of his head for a minute, like, oh, well, she's a cheater. Because he even said, once a cheater, always a cheater. And, that's not necessarily all the time the truth. Sometimes people don't know why. They, of course, cheating is also a decision that you make, but you can also make a decision to not do it. So, to hold that against her in a way to say, once a cheater, always a cheater, I got to keep my eyes open, I got to keep look over my shoulder and everything. If you are that insecure within yourself that you feel like you can't trust someone who's already admitted that this is something I did, I'm not proud of, and I don't plan on doing it again within a marriage, and you're still holding on to that, that's your problem and not theirs. Now, let's talk about how vindictive Jose is. Jose got some issues. He wants to be in control. A lot of, and we all know, we've all met guys who are vertically challenged tend to have control issues. I'm saying, for the most part, for the most part, there are a lot of guys who are vertically challenged who have control issues, because they want to be seen as more than. A lot of them have issues with their height or their size, and they'll use that within relationships to control in other ways. So for him, he wants to control the finances. He wants them to have just one joint account with all the money, and then he gets to decide what to do, or all these types of things. And then, as you see, he gets upset. They just met each other. Let's be honest. We haven't even gotten to the 1 month mark, have we? Maybe 3 or 4 weeks. But we're talking about, I just met you. I've been used to all these people. We're all hanging around. And what got me was the fact that he is upset that she called him another name. Not Mike, not Randy, not any of these things, but Johnny, someone who is in your friend group. You're upset because she called you someone who is in your friend group name. Do you know how many times I call everybody the wrong name? Everybody. And I don't care who you are. And so this was the point of contention for you, to get to a point that you wanted to lock her out. Are you kidding me? And you think that that's okay? But what I found, as much as I don't like most of the guys that are in this friend group, is they held him to the fire. They held his feet to the fire. They told him exactly what I felt like needed to be heard, which was, first of all, they questioned him like, this is sounding like, Gil was like, hey, bro, this sounds like, you're not telling all the facts here. This does not sound truthful to me. I like the fact that all of them were like, wait, really, this is the thing. This is what you're really upset about. What I also found interesting was, when they did their interviews with each of the guys, and everybody's like, hey, I never really deadbolted a door. And now let's go back to the situation that happened. They got upset. He got upset, and he said, you know, they fell out. He wasn't giving the whole truth. And what really happened was she called him Johnny, and that caused some type of argument to happen. They had gone back and forth. We didn't see everything that happened, but it got to a point where somebody from production actually had to come and, be a part of the conversation, which is a signal to me that it had gotten out of hand. The other thing was, she was like, you know what? I'm out of here. I don't have to do this with you, whatever. And I'm like, girl, trust your gut. Go on and go. Some of the other things that happened within that situation was, they're talking about they have trust issues and everything. And while that production person was there, she walks the person out from production, and he locks the door. So now he's saying, I don't know where she went. Now, come on, y'all. We all know that's a damn lie. He saw her walk out with the girl from production. What was her name? Brittany, I think. Likely they were sitting outside. I'm pretty sure what happened, because I happen to be a woman. These are things that happen when other women are upset. Girl, what happened? Okay, so once you get them out of the sight of the person that they're arguing with, you kind of have to, calm that person, that friend down. You want to hear their side of the story. Let them vent. Get to a place where they're good again. And then you can, walk back in and talk to everyone and be like, okay, now do I have you cool? I mean, you good? You good? Okay, now that you're good, going back to your place. See, that's what I'm saying. Jose overreacted big time. Like, are you kidding me, Jose? Did it let me do it? Yeah, there it is. So he's overreacted big time. He absolutely did. All of the things that Jose has done to me have been big overreactions. Like, from the point where he was talking about, let me brush your teeth, where he thought that was cute, but I felt like that was that first little thing of, this guy has a real problem. And when she's like, look, let me do this myself. Look, I've been used to doing this. I'm okay. Back up a little bit. I'm gonna allow you to be the man and lead in the relationship, but you're gonna have to understand that I've been independent and on my own for a long time. And so those are things you have to respect as my spouse as well. And so those are things that she's been saying. And so she reads to him some of the other things that she's been having an issue with. And this is where that other overreaction comes from, because he was like, you should have told me this 2 weeks ago. We all can see that Jose is not receptive to any kind of criticisms. We can see that he is not receptive to any kind of conversation, which means that if he can't control the conversation and the narrative in the conversation, he does not want to have the conversation. Now, what I do appreciate about the guys is that they, again, held him to it. Like, okay, so now it's over. You mad at her, it's over. That's it. That's what we're doing. And the fact that nobody within that friend group was hearing what he had to say about how you eventually lock your spouse out of the house was telling, because there is no way I'm going to lock my door if everybody's not in. And when he kept talking about, I need to secure my property. It's our property. We in this house together. But one thing that did hit me was that he considers Rachel as his property. And when she does something that's not pleasing to him, he no longer wants to have any ownership of the relationship. He no longer wants to have ownership of anything that has to do with her, because he's throwing a grown-up tantrum. He's not getting what he wants the way he wants it. So he's just going to disengage, and he just throw everything away. I also, if I was Rachel, would have thrown that food back in his face while he was cooking and she's trying to have a conversation. He just acting like, yeah. You would have been wearing that food that day. And all of my stuff would have been packed up. And I wouldn't come back to that apartment, because to me, certain things when you're in relationships happen. You have blow-ups, you have disagreements, you have arguments, things get ugly. there is to me, there's a point in which you need to look as a person and say to yourself, this is it, this is my threshold. Doesn't matter if you've been together 2 weeks, 3 days, 5 months, 30 years, whatever. There should be a point where you are no longer accepting that kind of behavior toward you or within that relationship. And I do believe you need to walk away because there is no resolve. Jose doesn't believe in resolving things. He wants you to be like, okay, you were right, I was wrong, and let's move on. And that's not how you resolve anything. That's why Jose been alone his, all this time. You're starting to see now, once you get to about that halfway point, you start to see why these people have been single for so long. Because certain things, conflict resolution ain't his thing. You look at Michaela. She has usually been used to blowing up and being done with the relationship and not coming back and actually dealing with the consequences of her actions. Look at Zach. He's used to walking away and being passive aggressive and nobody holding him to his end of the bargain, which is, when you gonna let this go so we can grow. So look at Ryan. Ryan think he deserve a whatever. And Brett, obviously, it must not be the type of woman that he thinks he deserves, even though he's not willing to bend on things either. Because who want to go and look at a deer head in their bedroom every night? Like, bruh, you know, you're not bringing nothing. Johnny got a problem because he want women to fawn over him before he can be emotionally attached to them. Look at all of this. And Gil want to be broke and want to be mad because other people got money. Gil is okay. Let me say this too while I'm here, because I don't have my crew here to push back with me today, and that's fine. Gil, I see on a lot of shows, like even the halfway through show with Kevin Frazier, where he's talking to these other bloggers. People just like, Gil is the MVP, and everybody just so in love with him because he was patient over a kiss. Gil is petty, and I wouldn't want to kiss him either if I was Mirla. And now, like I told y'all, Mirla not my favorite person. But the way that Gil presents information, and as sarcastic as he is, and every time she talks about shoes, he's but because he feels like she doesn't have any substance. And I'm like, baby, she in education, she got plenty of substance. But when you been working all day long and being serious, you want to come home and look at shoes, that's your business. You got to learn how to bend for that. All of them got issues. All of them have issues. To me, Gil is a jerk. I don't care what y'all say. I hope the Lifetime people see this. Gil is a jerk. And he just cloaks it in, trying to act like he has some type of substance. And y'all ain't gonna tell me no better than that. Y'all ain't gonna tell me. I'm sorry. That's just I'm actually not sorry. But Gil is a jerk. He's just able to hide it a little better than the rest of them, how jerky he is. So we see Mirla doesn't know how to compromise in a relationship. Where I've always said you don't necessarily need to compromise, but you do need to make some adjustments and I know it sounds like it's the same thing, but you need to make some concessions when it comes to certain things. Like, for me, that was silly to talk about your lashes, or I don't wear sun visors, or things like that. Things like that are really little. um it's okay to bend on. It doesn't change the fabric of who you are. But um her saving, all those things, that's great. I think she really she gonna keep spending. She get it, she gonna spend it, and she might spend it on you too, Gil, if you hush. um like I said, Michaela got issues. Michaela is the typical youngest sister that everyone has allowed to do whatever she wants to do. How do I know I'm the youngest? They've allowed her to do everything she wanted to do without any consequences. And what that does is spill over into relationships. So when you're held accountable, it seems as though everybody's being, treating you wrong. But what it is that you've actually being held accountable for your actions. And I'm hoping that because she wants to be married so badly, that'll change for her. You said, I don't know who's going to stay together this season. Hopefully none of them, to be honest. I don't think any of them are good matches. I really don't. I think that on paper it looks good. I think that Ryan gaslights Brett. I think Brett needs to get a backbone though, Brett falls in love very quickly. You can tell because when they were doing the exercise with the tantric exercises, I mean, she's making eye contact. She's like really feeling it, and Ryan is dead facing her. And to me, you only gonna look at me like that so many times before I'm gonna check out too. You know, I don't think he wants to work toward it, and it's apparent. Now, what is funny though, and I'm glad that you were asking. I don't know who's gonna stay together. What's funny about all of these couples is that every couple except Gil and Mirla, someone within the couple has stayed away from the house for an extended period of time. And when I'm saying extended in this platform, 2 days is a long time. Ryan don't stay with Brett. Michaela and Zach, well, he had COVID, so they didn't even get to spend their honeymoon together. So they lost a lot of time within this project, within this experiment. um Jose done dead bolted a lot on Rachel, so who knows where she's staying right now. um so everybody, Johnny done, he needed time to reflect, so he left. um and so everybody has spent time away from their spouse within this experiment, except Gil and Mirla, and they going slow as molasses right now. But what I can respect about both of them is, she told him where she was, and he had no choice but to respect it. And so that's the one thing I will give him a little bit of a hand clap for, because he hasn't left and he hasn't really been pressuring her. I just wish he stopped talking to everybody about her kissing him. Now that he has gotten the kiss, I hope that his next step won't be to keep saying, well, she won't sleep with me. You know, I've done all this, and if we ain't sleeping together by the 8th week, then, divorce. I feel like she'll have all of these great things that she's making advances towards. She's kind of slow, and she needs someone slow. She said, I needed someone slow, and I can appreciate that about him. He's wonderful. He's great. But I feel like if she's not at warp speed where he wants her to be, that he's going to want to leave her. The other thing was, I also realized Mirla has been hurt a lot. Yes, a pick. Well, he got 2 kisses though. She pecked him, and then she came back and gave him some more kisses. So we actually don't know if it was just a peck. They on the right track though. But the thing that I know about Mirla, and I've been watching her, she's very reserved because she actually said that she was cheated on within a relationship, and I think that makes her really gun shy about things. She has her problem is trust, but I want for her to move past those things by allowing, someone else who is not the person that hurt her to show up in a different way that person obviously did not. And then also she has a hard time breaking that kind of professional face and being able to unwind. She just don't know how to unwind. And I think one of those things, one of the drawbacks of growing up poor, a lot of times when young people grow up in an environment when they're poor, is that they're always putting on a face because they don't want to show people, like, can't tell people how poor we are. Or, you're very much aware of optics. So you don't want to appear a certain way. You don't want to appear needy. You don't want to appear that you're lacking something. And so what it does is it puts a facade up for them until a point where they're not able to let it down. And it's, kids that grew up poor, and also kids who grow up with a strict background, kind of the same thing. Not quite, but where you feel like you're hiding something all the time. People who grow up in strict backgrounds are not all the time forthcoming with information because they don't know if they're going to get in trouble. Kids that grow up poor don't tell information because they don't know if it's going to put their family in some type of situation. So when I'm looking at Mirla, I'm seeing that she's still dealing with some of those effects of growing up poor. And she said they grew up poor. So hopefully we'll see that change. Now, I'm going to say it again. Jose, me and him will be squaring up in the parking lot. Because if you can go to sleep without your spouse, without knowing that your spouse is okay, without knowing that your spouse is safe, without knowing that your spouse just didn't want to talk to you no more. If you good, if you can sleep a whole 8, 10 hours and get ready for the day, because he said he had to get ready for the day. If you can do that, then you don't need to be married. Actually, no. Like they said, it's human decency. It's not even about marriage. It's people that you care about. I have friends that don't even live in the same city with me. And we check in. Everybody check in. Like, hey, I knew you went out. You back at home? Text me when you get back home. Do you need anything? Call me. You in trouble? Do I need to call somebody for you? Are you good? Those are things that you ask people. Are you good? And if you're not asking that of, just forget the spouse part, your friends, then what kind of friend are you? And the other thing is about Jose is I see everybody's been pacifying his ego for a long time. And he needs to he's one of those people that needs to be broken down so he can be built back up. I don't know if this is a good experience for him or experiment. I don't think they should have chosen him because he has a lot to work on. He's another one that want to have all these requirements, and he ain't bringing nothing to the table but a 815 credit score and a damn whiteboard. I ain't seen nothing yet that says, "Oh, okay, well he's a great person." These things here, this thing. He has these timelines that he wants. He wants to, you know, sex has to be contingent upon whether he wants to have it or not if his partner desires him. You know, I'm real concerned about his beard line and his mustache. Like, I'm real concerned about stuff like that. Delano. He looks gay. Here's the thing, and I'm not sure about where his sexual spectrum is, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little bit more um fluid than just straight. But I think because of his Christian values, he's going to go ahead and skew more toward being straight than to just say I'm sexually fluid. Because child, he and Johnny got a bromance going on. They keep on. They default to each other. It's cute. It's really cute. But yeah, I just don't know. I think that and then here's the other thing, and then I'm gonna be done because I wasn't gonna be on here for an hour. I don't like that we're not seeing the experts as much this season. And I understand because of, COVID and things like that, we're not going to see them in person, but we're not seeing them a lot on the calls with these people. We're not seeing a whole lot of them doing a lot of just some of that coaching on the side that I was expecting from the experts this season. I mean, y'all can call me. You can call your neighborhood sexuality and intimacy coach. I hope y'all do one in Memphis. I would love to step in and help some of these couples out because sometimes you just need a different perspective. I think there's one thing about learning how to learn each other and all these things, but I think some of them need to have some hardcore conversations that are not happening. And I think a lot of times what happens is that we are so worried about what it's going to look like. Again, we are a masculine leaning society. So a lot of things are done to not make men look bad. Sometimes you just got to call their ass to the carpet. And sometimes the women got to do it as much as the men. So like these experts, they need to come to it. They need to, as much as they was on Chris ass last year, they need to be on Jose. As much as they were doing all this other stuff and they was like, well, he's the worst. Jose is just as bad. Ryan is just as bad. Zachary gonna pass out on the floor and have a whole conniption fit because he can't see stuff because he ready to go because it's not like his parents' relationship and he's trying to hold everything to what his parents and brothers are doing or get married real quick so that he can be part of the married crew. To me, those are red flags. Why y'all choose these people this year? They were the only ones that applied. I know they wouldn't. Anyway, y'all making good TV, y'all making good relationships. Y'all let me know. I think that's it, y'all. Hopefully the review crew will come back and we'll talk some more about this subject because I ain't done with it. I'm really disappointed in what's been happening this season. Y'all, I don't like it. Love and Marriage Huntsville comes on tonight. I may come back later and do a review with them because I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm good and done with Tiffany. I'm tired of Tiffany. Tired of Mel and Martell. They just might as well get back together and just sleep together because that's all that is sexual tension. Uh Marceau and Tisha, whatever. Maurice and Kimmy. I feel like Kimmy gonna be done with Maurice in about I give it 3 years max. Um and please stop bringing Cedric on the show. Okay. All right, y'all. I was just trying this midday thing on the weekend since I actually had time to sit down and do it. Hopefully you guys gained something from this review because this was just it was supposed to be just about Jose, but since I'm here, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, we'll see y'all again. The review crew will come back and review some things. Hey Wendy, I miss you too. I want to just let y'all know we'll be coming back to review some more of this other thing. I don't know if we're doing Bell Collective. If they started, I know they started reviewing, but I don't know if we're gonna review them because we were not really that happy with that show last season. Um, but if there are any other shows, I like to do reviews on shows that are really centered around relationships and everything. Again, because I am your neighborhood sexuality and intimacy coach, I like to look at things from the perspective of a coach or also just looking at it from relationship wise. So I'm not going to do shows, some of the other reality shows, but definitely the ones that are centered more around like romantic relationships. And sometimes it's just things that we can just discuss. I like talking about sex and sexuality because that is what I do. I am very well versed in talking about sex and sexuality. So I like to look at those things in that way. But if you have anything you want me to review, or you want to come on the show and help review some of these other shows, let me know. I'll drop you a link. But I will see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun and in the words of Harriet Tubman, bring y'all asses on and stop. Go get your shots. Go get all of your COVID shots. Go get your flu shots. Be safe. Stop touching people. Be socially distanced and use a condom if you don't know that person. Even if you do, sometimes you need to use a condom. Okay, don't shoot the club up unless you want to have kids. Okay, bye.